There's been a lot of talk about foreign aid and why the U.S. gives money to other countries. First, let's take a look at what it is. Foreign aid is money, goods, or assistance that one country provides to another. The Brookings Institute noted 3 categories of foreign aid: humanitarian assistance, like that given after a natural disaster; development assistance, including programs that promote education and social progress; and security assistance, often money or supplies for a foreign military. America gives the most foreign aid of any country in terms of gross dollars. It committed $51 billion from its 2020 budget. And while that sounds like a whole lot, it's actually less than 1% of the total budget. Americans tend to believe it's a lot more. A study from the Kaiser Family Foundation showed that the average American thinks the U.S. spends 26% of its budget on foreign aid. That may help explain why some are against it. However, when Americans learn how much the government actually spends on foreign aid, 1/3 say it's the right amount, and about 1/4 say it's actually too little. But back to that question of why. Former U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, James Dobbins, made it clear in a 2017 interview with the Wall Street Journal that American foreign aid is not simply a charity handout.
It's preventative and it's enlightened self-interest. It's the reason the United States helped Japan and Germany recover after World War II, so they would become allies, so they would become customers.
Self-interest. While a portion of foreign aid, like that given after a natural disaster, is a gesture of goodwill, most of it is self-serving. The government makes no secret of this. In outlining its goals, the U.S. specifies that foreign aid is designed to protect America's security at home and abroad, and renew America's competitive advantage for economic growth and job creation. In terms of economic support, the thinking is helping other countries build up their economies will lead to them buying more American products. Historically, strategic foreign aid has had wide bipartisan support.
I ask the Congress to commit $15 billion over the next 5 years, including nearly $10 billion in new money, to turn the tide against AIDS in the most afflicted nations of Africa and the Caribbean.
President George W. Bush received applause from Democrats and Republicans at his 2003 State of the Union when he announced billions in foreign aid to fight the HIV/AIDS crisis abroad. That stood in stark contrast to this 15 years later.
I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America.
A bipartisan split reacting to President Trump announcing a stricter approach to spending money abroad. Former President Trump pushed for massive cuts in American foreign aid. Ultimately, members of his own party pushed back. Foreign aid is not perfect, but there are tangible results. Since President Bush announced an effort to fight the HIV/AIDS epidemic in 2003, the U.S. government says it has saved more than 20 million lives. Another tangible example is America's recent aid to Ukraine. It's provided money, goods, and assistance that have made a real difference in Ukraine's war against Russia.
Ukraine is grateful to the United States for its overwhelming support, for everything that your government and your people have done for us.
But one critique of foreign aid is that it sends American money overseas when there are lingering problems at home. That was the crux of recent opposition from the Heritage Foundation. It said Congress's $40 billion package in May to Ukraine gave taxpayer dollars to a foreign nation without any accountability. But foreign aid isn't a blank check and commonly has specific designations and oversight. Congress's $40 billion aid package for Ukraine passed, despite some opposition from Republican lawmakers.
The yeas are 86, the nays are 11, and the bill is passed.
The package has specific designations, including $4 million to the U.S. State Department's Inspector General and $1 million for the U.S. Agency for International Development Inspector General to ensure the money isn't abused. While debates over foreign aid aren't going anywhere, it continues to be a political tool and one the U.S. is committed to employing. In its 2023 fiscal year budget, the Biden administration has already requested more than $60 billion for the State Department for foreign aid, a 6% increase from the year before. Alex Miller, Newsy, New York.